And welcome back to Health No Filter, formerly Over 40s Fitness with Tristan Lowe. And here we are now, last week in April 2025. And today's guest is Chris Owen of Optimum Safety. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm all right, thanks, Tristan.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, sir.
No worries at all.
All right,
Pleasure.
Chris has been to our centres before to see us for sports massage therapy, as Chris is a cyclist of quite a good level as well. So let's actually, if you'd like to introduce yourself to our viewers, who are you, what's your profession and where are you based?
So, Chris Owen, based in Lincoln. My company is Optimum Safety, and we're health and safety consultants.
Okay, how long have you been doing that for?
I've been in safety now for 18 years.
Yeah.
I've had my own business now for 7.5.
Okay, so you got the hang of it.
Just about, yeah.
Are you still learning or have you mastered it?
I don't think I'll ever master
No.
it. There's always something we learn, but I'm a chartered consultant as well, and my studying days are over now.
Yeah.
It's just a learning on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, learn. Okay, so, and there's always need for safety around, health and safety.
100%, in any business.
Right, so Optimum Safety is most of your work that you do, your services and profession, is it for commercial businesses or like residential as well?
It's all commercial. The only thing we do really for residential is fire risk assessments.
Gotcha, yeah.
But mainly, 99% of our work is commercial.
Yeah, gotcha.
Commercial businesses of any size.
Yeah. All right, how many people that work at your centre, at your business?
There's 6 of us currently in the business.
You got your work cut out?
We have got work cut out.
Yeah.
We're very busy at the moment.
Yeah, I know you're always busy. Whenever I see you out and about, you're always going somewhere or finishing something.
I'm always flying around. It's trying to calm myself down and slow myself down.
Talking of slowing ourselves down, okay, so for those of you that aren't aware, I've known Chris for a couple of years on and off now, and again, he'd come to our centre to look after you, and normally for your legs, and the reason being, to say you're a keen cyclist would be an understatement. And from what I've seen of you and know of you, I'm not sure you're ready for the Tour de France, but I know I'm certain. All right, okay, so Chris, tell me about your cycling. When did you start?
Started many years ago. I've always been cycling since I was a child. I had chopper bikes when I was a kid, and I was always flying around the village. I sort of got into it, mountain biking, early 20s. Did that through to mid 30s really, and then started to look at road biking. But I've seriously got into road biking for the last 5 years really. Yeah,
and when you say road biking, like a racing bike or a touring bike?
Like a touring bike. I've got winter bike, summer bike now.
Right.
I've also got into gravel biking now instead of a mountain bike.
I've heard that's becoming popular.
Yeah. So my garage is full.
Okay.
Yeah, it's taken over my life.
So you've been cycling since you were a kid. Now you're 53.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a year and change younger than me. So at your age, what is the no pun intended? What is the optimal age for an endurance road cyclist? Like the guys on the tour.
Oh, I mean, to be honest, they're early 20s.
Okay.
Early 20s.
Right.
Sort of up to their mid 30s really.
Yeah.
And then you start to, with anybody, you start to peter off with what you can do endurance wise.
Yeah.
But some of the guys, the guys on the tour are the next level. If anyone's ever been and watched a professional cycle race, or even the semi-professional, they're unbelievable.
Yeah.
They really are.
There's a huge
they're
gap.
Next level. Yeah, there's me, and then they're.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What's okay, so in terms of your bike rides, I know that you run a business, so your time is quite precious. Yeah. So you've got to dial in your time, and you're a family man as well. Yeah. You've got a family and a business, and both of those are full-time jobs.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You've got your business plus running a family. So when do you get time to cycle? Let's say now, early summer.
I make time. So tonight I'll be going home about 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I've got a turbo trainer in my garage.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get on that.
Yeah.
Rather than going out in the sun, get on that. I'm going to do about 30 mile tonight.
Now that's interesting because out of ignorance, I would think that this weather like it is now, I think the first thing you want to do is get outdoors on your bike.
Well, I'm going to ride to work tomorrow.
Oh, gotcha.
So I'm going to do outdoor riding tomorrow, but I don't like flies.
Right, okay.
There's a lot of green fly around at the moment. I got covered the other night, and at that time of night, they're out in force basically. So for me, you can get a good sweat on in the garage.
Gotcha.
I've got TV in there.
Yeah.
And I just watch a bit and just pound away basically.
Yeah.
About 30 miles tonight.
Yeah. And so 30 miles on a turbo trainer indoors. How long is it going to take you tonight?
Hour and a half.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Depending on how many feet I climb, because you can choose the routes. I'm on Swift.
Oh, okay. You're on the software as well. Yeah. Okay, and what's the bike? What's the brand of your bike, the make?
My road bike or my road bike's Giant.
Giant,
Yeah,
okay.
that and my gravel bike's Giant.
Yeah, popular brand.
Yeah, I'm a ride leader for them as well.
Yeah.
Giant in Lincoln.
Okay, yeah.
So,
What's the brand? When the Olympic Games was on in 2012, I went to it, and of course they built the Westfield Shopping Centre.
Yeah.
And if I remember rightly, the shop that everyone was outside was the Pinarello.
Pinarello,
Yeah. Did you know about that bike shop?
Yeah.
And
No, I've never been to it. But
there was this crowd.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, we're talking, what, 13 years ago. So I'm walking past and I had my ticket to go and see the boxing. I thought, why is everyone outside this shop? And it was that. And of course, you had to touch the bikes and wanted to walk in.
Yeah.
They started at 4 or 5 grand.
Oh, 100,
and they went up to 17, 18 grand.
Yeah, you're looking for that.
And that was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the bike shop's still there, but it was the go-to shop in the Westfield Shopping Centre at the Olympic Games at the time. So what's the difference then between your Giant bike and a Pinarello bike?
Just the quality.
Okay.
Really. The quality of the frame,
Yeah.
the quality of the wheels, the quality of the gearing, everything on it really is next level.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, you know, my bike's a Giant bike. With the wheels I've got on now, it's about 4,500 it's worth.
Yeah.
But their new Defy that's in the shop now, their top of the range one's 11,000.
Gotcha, right, yeah.
So I'm way at my price.
Yeah. Well, I suppose in equipment like that, you get what you pay for.
100, yeah.
Could you using the eye test, all right, if you took the branding and logos off a Giant bike and a Pinarello bike, would you notice a difference by looking at them?
Yeah, you do. Just for the frame, really.
Okay.
I'm not an expert at all. I'm really not. There's people out there that know way more about everything.
Yeah.
I go to them for advice, and everything, but I know what's a good frame and what's not a good frame, and what's good gearing and what's not good gearing, and same with the wheels and that as well.
The internet. Oh, okay. Well, so the internet aside, and YouTube, because I use that every day. If you're not going on the internet and YouTube for some advice or whatnot, where do you go as in you meet someone in person or a place? Where would you go?
You go to a bike shop, say Giant in Lincoln, which is a I'm trying to think of the word.
Is it the one in Donington?
Yeah, the one at Donington Hall. So all they sell is Giant. Basically. It's not a.
They're like a flagship centre.
Yeah, it's not a shop that sells loads of different brands.
Yeah, like my normal bike I go to. Yeah.
So they're so they only sell Giant.
Yeah.
Go to them. Go for advice with them. They. You know, there's specialised in Nottingham.
Yeah, I've seen that.
There's so many. There's Canon. There's Trek. There's so many different types.
In the 90s, I got into mountain biking. Just having a bike, and Trek was a big brand. Yeah, TREK Trek. Yeah, it was a big brand. That and like Muddy Fox, and whatever. But racing bikes, they kind of scare me because I always think you come off that, you're in bandit country.
I mean, the thing is that anyone that rides a road bike, really, you need to clip in as well. That's the most dangerous. But I always say to people, I give people advice as well on that when they first start using them, just go on a little ride, go on a flat ride, no hills, no junctions, and just practice unclipping with the foot you want to unclip with and never change.
Yeah.
So you never change it.
Yeah.
So mine's always left, and
And the muscle memory just work.
Yeah. So and then when you're coming up to a junction, you unclip before you get to it.
Gotcha.
And you put yourself in a situation sometimes where you have to suddenly stop, unclip quick.
Yeah.
And you practice that, and then you go on the main road.
When I hear about, because I got a few pals of mine that got into cycling years ago, and they had the thing with the clips. In fact, our therapist who worked for me had the same issue as well.
Yeah.
They fell off at the lights, at traffic lights, I always think, crikey, if you can't get your foot out quick enough, you're only gonna fall left or right.
It's memory. It's all about memory, and it's all about pre-planning. If you see a junction come up, you unclip way before the traffic lights.
You don't wait and then almost come to a stop and then think,
not unless you have to, unless you're an abrupt stop. No, you prepare. Prepare for the junction. Just get ready, basically.
And what is it? Just like a little rotation of the ankle joint, or just a little flex it? Yeah, to left or the right. So
it's always on your left foot to the left, right foot to the right. So it's just unclip,
And how quick to get back in? How do they?
Quick, it's just getting your pedal right. It's getting your pedal right way, but most of them you can pedal and keep going and then clip it in once you're going.
Gotcha. Would you go on a bike ride, not your gravel, but your racing bike, without your clips?
No, I have done it with my lad. I've got an 8-year-old.
Just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun, but usually I clip in.
Yeah. If you were to wear, your normal running shoes or trainers like I when I go on a mountain bike, is it the ball of the foot that contacts the pedal, or the arch of the foot? Or
it's mainly in the middle, just under. You've just under it, so it's just past your ball really. So if you are putting clips on, your cleats, we'll call it. Put them all the way back to start with, and then adjust it forward depending on how it feels on it. But it's always good when you buy a bike to get a bike fit.
Gotcha.
So I have had a bike fit done at Giant before.
Yeah.
They're sort of they're on the expensive level, but they're very, very good.
Yeah.
There's a guy at Workshop, I go to, Andy Bishop, he's an ex-racer.
In Workshop, in Nottinghamshire, yeah?
In Workshop, yeah. Is it Workshop or Rep? I think it's called Retford, actually.
Yeah.
He's really good as well.
Yeah.
And then they set your cleats up, they set your bike up for you. Because the problem is, if you buy a bike, it's generally set up.
Yeah, like
you
mine,
can look up, so you can look up YouTube videos and different things like that, how to do it, but it's to have that eye, to have somebody videoing your bike in, where your bike's clipped in and you're on a machine, and they can watch you and they video you and test the angles and everything. How you are. So.
I'm glad that for those who don't know, I'm a 17-year veteran in personal training. I class myself as a veteran now, and I'm still learning about clients and sports and fitness in the body and physiology as well. I ride a mountain bike, nothing like you do on your racing bike. I just do mine for fun and get outdoors. And I 9 times out of 10 I experience knee pain post cycling. Sometimes at the latter stage of an hour's bike ride, but I get knee pain for anything up to 3 or 4 days later. And I went on YouTube and looked at, why am I getting knee pain while I'm cycling? And they talked about the seat height, the seat angle, the relative distance between the crank and the cog and things like that. But when you've mentioned that, I'm actually going to get some details off you after, Chris, and go and see a specialist.
Absolutely.
Because I don't want to stop riding my mountain bike because the knee pain is so bad. I'm a fit, strong man, but clearly I'm doing something wrong in my setup.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Andy, he charges, I think it's £80, £90.
Yeah.
And that's worth its weight in gold.
Absolutely,
set up. So he'll check the reach as well, the head, the height on it, the seat angle.
But mine's a mountain bike though.
Same
thing.
Same thing. Because you can change the head.
Yeah.
You can change it. You can change anything.
Yeah, gotcha.
Really on it. And he will look at your size, look at your mountain bike, and he might even say, mountain bike's too small.
Really?
Or your mountain bike's too big.
Yeah.
First road bike I ever bought in my adult, I bought an extra large.
Yeah.
Stupid.
That's what I thought I should do.
No.
I mean, you're 6'1".
Yeah, you stretch it. So I've got a large, I could have gone medium large on my road bike.
Right, and just had the seat height higher.
Yeah.
Okay, right. All right, so I've noticed you brought in your cycling helmet. If you just want to reach down and grab that and show it to our camera.
So this is my
so look at this.
This is the one I want to wear for sportive. So this is an Abus Game Changer.
Abus,
it's like anything. The more,
so look at this, Chris.
the more that you pay for it, the better. These are
German.
Yeah, so this is the Movistar team that does the professional team Tour de France wore these last year and the year before.
Right, yeah. It actually says Game Changer on the side.
Yeah, they are. They are. And the more, it's like with anything, the more you spend, the better it is. I mean, this protects. If I was to come off, this is one of the best ones.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're spending £20, you're getting £20 worth of protection. Yeah. So, but this has got its own thing that protects your head more than the brain.
Gotcha.
More than anything, it's like equivalent to a MIPS.
Okay. Do you know when you buy equipment for your cycling, whether it be the helmet, the glasses, the shorts, is the look of it important as well for you? Like if that was a really strange looking shape and it was coloured psychedelic yellow and blue and pink, but you knew it was a good brand and a good model, would you still buy it?
To a point.
Okay.
because you are seen in public.
Yeah, okay.
And we get enough stick as it is for wearing lycra and different things.
Middle-aged men in lycra.
Yeah. I mean, it's it helps if you're a bit fitter as well. Okay. But the look up to a point. But it's about the safety. I'll always try and go for something in blue or in I wear black, I wear red. Yeah. I mean, it's the look up to a point, but it's mainly the safety side of things.
Yeah, because I asked that, when you think about it, if you spent 3-4 grand on your bike, would you have spent 3 or 4 grand on the bike that you've got now and that you're comfortable with and works for you, if it was canary yellow and pink and that's the only colour they did it in? Candy pink, canary yellow.
It won't bother me really.
Okay.
Because I'd be going that quick, you won't see it.
Okay. Yeah, but it would trap more flies, though, wouldn't it?
It would attract more flies. Yeah. I mean, my bike's black. So,
okay. Okay. I like my bike's black. I buy it because I've got colour blindness. So if I buy a black bike, I just think, well, I know this is black, so I'm good.
Yeah, I'm colourblind as well. So,
well, it's a male thing, isn't it?
It is,
it's a club. We all know. Cheap black t-shirt. All right. Tell me something about when you're training, the fitness training for cycling. Yeah. Is the fitness training for cycling just cycling?
No. I mean, I do. It mainly is, I would say, 85%. Mm-hmm. A lot of people run at the same time.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people do strength training and that. Especially as you get older. I mean, I ride with cyclists sort of from 40 onwards. There are younger ones, but it's mainly that sort of age group. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, we do a bit of running, we do a bit of general fitness, but it's mainly cycling.
Yeah.
Mainly time in the saddle.
Interesting now when you mentioned about the running for cycling, because although they're both cardiovascular, one is completely weight bearing and one's recumbent, seated. And is this myth, okay, that your cyclists, club level, amateur level, national, or the world class endurance cyclists, is it true that all the time they spend in the saddle, it can lead towards impotency, and that's why a lot of the world-class cyclists have children young? Because apparently the seat and the time spent sat on the seat can cut the blood supply after the scrotum and lead to erectile dysfunction or impotency.
No.
I've read,
Not in my case.
I read that. Well, proof's in the pudding, you've got children.
Exactly.
But you had them young.
No, I didn't. I had them older, mid-40s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so how old are your children now then?
I've got so Alfie, my youngest, is 8.
Yeah.
And then Jack is 18.
So you had your kids in your...
Jack is my stepson.
Okay, so you had Alfie at 8?
44, I think it was. 44.
Right, so there is proof then that could just be a myth then. I read about it, but I read about that a long time ago, and I thought that sounds like it makes sense in the same way that a boxer, if a boxer, whether it be a club level or elite level fighter, they know at some point they're going to have cognitive injury or brain damage. So if a boxer's going to study applied maths or going to study physiology, surely they should do it when they're younger, because they're going to have so many head injuries. So I thought that is, is this the first time you've heard that?
I don't think so though, because if you look at the Tour de France guys, they've been so Mark Cavendish. He's been riding since he was a young kid. He's got young kids. He's now in his 30s.
And he's had Melvin.
And he's professional.
It's myth, but it sounded believable. I
Yeah.
thought that would probably make sense then. And the reason I say that is because about 20, 30 years ago, I read an article that the Italians had invented or patented a certain type of bike racing seat with a cutaway down the middle, in the middle of the seat, so the seat wasn't solid. There was like a hole that runs through it. And what's that hole there for?
It's for comfort. For comfort, I think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them are going for the cutout in the middle,
Yeah.
as far as I know.
Yeah.
But now they're going. You can get a what's it called? A plastic seat, not a plastic.
Yeah. Rubber foam, what?
Yeah, no, it's
some sort of different composite.
Yeah, 3D printed seats. They're the in seats now.
Right.
Yeah.
3D printed.
Yeah. So you can pay 250 quid upwards.
Yeah.
3D printed seat.
And the seat is almost unique for yourself then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can buy them off the shelf
Yeah.
for certain size, but there's no cutout in those.
Gotcha.
It's all about weight displacement
Right.
as well.
Interesting.
So, but comfort-wise, what they're doing now, they're shortening the seat as well, so it's not such a long seat for comfort as well. Because
And who's doing that? The Italians, the Germans?
all of them.
Yeah.
All of them. My giant seats are they're quite snug now.
Right.
Short, because I'm doing endurance riding,
Yeah.
anything from 6 hours onwards now.
Yeah.
So when you're sitting in a seat for that long, you need a bit of comfort, and
the cycling
pushed forward.
Yeah, of course it is.
So it's for comfort. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, but having said that though, forgive me if correct me if I'm wrong. No one goes out cycling to be comfortable though, do you? There's a degree of discomfort.
It does help.
Yeah. Do you wear padded shorts?
The better the shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the shorts that we're looking at are over £200 now.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're the cycling shorts that we see when people are out on bike.
The riders that do longer rides.
Wow.
It's the same as the helmet. The more you spend, the better the pad. I mean, my first shorts were, you get into a 10-minute ride and your bum would be hurting already. Yeah. If you're doing a 100-mile ride, 130 and 200-mile ride, you want that comfort. So my new shorts that I'm going to be purchasing for the ride we'll talk about later on is the 7-hour pad on them.
Right.
So they are sort of endurance shorts.
And you need them.
They're over 200 quid.
Crikey, yeah. All right, next one we're going to talk about. Now, just to jump on to the next subject, you've got a charity bike ride coming up.
Yes.
Well, I'll call it a charity bike ride because that's what we know about it. And it's 200 miles.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
All right, okay. Now, the most I've ever cycled one day, Chris, I think was about 40 miles when I was in my mid-30s. Yeah. I cycled, I think, from like Retford to Doncaster and back on a mountain bike that weighed like about 8 tons. Yeah. And I was tired when I got back. I think it took about 4 hours or something, maybe more. Only 40 miles on this great big heavy mountain bike. I don't think I even had a bottle of water. And I got back and thought, I'm not doing that again. Now, and I was in my 30s, you in your early to mid-50s, and you're going to cycle 200 miles in one day. Yeah. Right, when is it? Tell me all about it.
It's a ride called Chase the Sun.
Chase the Sun?
Chase the Sun.
Yeah.
So there's a north in Scotland, There's south going through London from coast to coast.
Yeah.
There's one in Ireland, one in Italy, and I've chosen the north. So we're doing from Whitley Bay in Newcastle to Ayr in Scotland.
Right.
Now I've done, a couple of years ago I did my first 100-mile sportive. A sportive is an organised ride that you pay, and there's stops on it and it's supported. Yeah. So I did that. I did a 130-mile last year. I did the C2C2C, which is a charity ride.
I remember seeing that.
A business one. Yeah. So
wow.
that was, I think I did 130 altogether, 125 mile it was, and then I rode to and from home.
Yeah. Seat to coast to coast to coast.
Castle to coast to castle it is.
Right.
It's in Lincoln.
Yeah.
It's a business one, so a lot of people do it for novices.
I do remember seeing you advertising.
Yeah, so I'm doing that this year as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and then last year I sort of said to the guy I rode that ride, do you fancy doing Chase the Sun just as an idea? Yeah. And there's him and another guy that we're doing it with. Yeah. And it's on June the 21st, and it's
being the longest day of the year.
Yeah, longest day of the year. So we set off from Whitley Bay, Newcastle to Ayr in Scotland. Whitley Bay at 4:30 in the morning. Yeah. And then we ride through the day to chase the sunset in Ayr in Scotland.
You're leaving at 4:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay, which means then that the night previous, hopefully you're in bed tucked up by 8 p.m. with a good book and a couple of
we're driving up the night before. We stay in Whitley Bay and probably get to bed as early as I can. That's 3 hours sleep.
Yeah, crikey, yeah.
And then it's what I do in the week before.
Yeah.
So I try and get as much sleep as I can. Yeah. In the week leading up to it, but yeah, it's not only 200 miles. It's 10,000 feet of climbing. Right. So it's the equivalent of riding up Mount Snowdon 3 times. Yeah. And 200 miles.
Yeah. Wow, crikey. So, that is some endurance, and also it's when you say sun up to sundown. Yeah, so the idea is when you get to Ayr, did you say? Yeah. Ayr, what time would that be? To the nearest half an hour?
I'm hoping for about 8 o'clock at night. But people don't finish it. People don't finish it in time. Some people finish at 2 in the morning.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But the idea is to go at a pace, if you can, with the stops and everything you have to eat and to drink. Yeah. Just to time it right to get there for the sun. But the climb's going to be really hard. It's going to be a really tough day, and we're just hoping we've got a tailwind.
Do you know the route? Have you actually been on chunks of that route?
No, route's not been out yet.
Right.
I've seen 2 years ago, and if it's the same as 2 years ago, there was 12,000 feet of climbing. Yeah. It's nearly 4 times up Mount Snowdon. Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm hoping it's the latter and 10,000 feet.
But even if 10,000 foot of elevation across that's huge. That's still huge.
Oh, it's huge.
It's actually quite it's a testament to what the body and what the body and mind are capable of, given a reason or an incentive. Yeah. What's the reason and the incentive?
The incentive more than ever now is my dad passed away from a stroke just before Christmas. Yeah. Thank you. It was all of a sudden. Yeah. Wasn't expected. It came as a shock. Yeah. I'm still. Yeah. It's still hitting me day to day now. Sure. Really. Yeah. So I decided to put all my energy into trying to raise some money for the Stroke Association as well.
That's a commendable.
It's a hard time to do it really because it's still in my head, and every time somebody donates, it hits me emotionally as well. Because I'm so thankful of it. But it's just the fitting the training in now because I've got more. Yeah. I've got more reason to do it.
You know, if there's another reason that's a bigger, better, more tangible. I can't think of one than that. But that's actually it's interesting, Chris, how something as drastic as that. Yeah. But you were a good level cyclist before the passing of your dad. Yeah. So you had so much experience. You had knowledge and experience of cycling. Yeah. I find that if there's a target and your target is to complete it, and your target for you and your colleagues is to complete it within a certain time, not 2 a.m. Surely not. Okay. No. But if there's another thing that's in the back of the mind, physically, mentally, emotionally, it can give us that little bit of a spur to do physical things that ordinarily we would never do.
Yeah, I've done Great North Run a couple of times, and having people cheer you on. We haven't got that. It's unsupported. So I've got 2 other riders riding at the same time as me, both from Lincoln, Wayne Thornton, and Jason. Great Jason Gray.
And what's Wayne and Jason's age?
Jason's 12 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Wayne's 13 years younger, so they've got that on me, and they are powerhouses as well. So
you're going to work
very
with a
good,
team.
very good cyclists. We're going to ride as a team.
Yeah. Do you do that thing where you take turns going in front?
Yeah, so it's chaining basically. So one person will do a mile, he'll drop back, the next two move up, and we'll do that until we get to the hills. And then in the hills, it's head up as quick as you can.
Right.
Weight at the top.
Yeah.
And then go again.
Right. Do you know when you take turns going in front and leading your pack? Is that for the slipstream reason?
Yeah, that's what. So you're digging right behind them, and we're starting. So we're riding the GP Sportif in 2 weeks. So on the less than 2 weeks now, 10th of May. I never thought I'd say I'd do a 100-mile cycle ride as a warm up.
As a warm up, yeah.
So Jason's actually riding it this weekend, mostly this weekend, because he wants to know the route.
Yeah.
Although I did it last year, so I sort of roughly know it. But yeah, so. You ride because and you have to trust the person you're riding with.
Yeah.
So if you imagine you're riding sometimes 25 mile an hour.
Yeah.
You're riding 4 inches off the wheel in front of you.
Right.
At that speed.
Yeah.
So you have an inline.
Yeah.
So you have to trust them.
You know they're not just going to suddenly break for no reason.
Yeah. If they are, it's for a good reason. But you shout out. Whole left, whole right, whole middle, anything that's coming up, anything in front of you, parked car, moving out, anything, and so that then goes back to the person behind you. And you can do. I mean, I've done that sort of riding before with sort of 10 of us.
Yeah.
When I'm a ride leader for Giant, and everyone has to shout back.
Yeah.
Because the one at the back you can't see anything.
And just like with a lot of sports, the communication and trust.
You have to trust. You have to trust.
Interesting. I think but on the subject of trust, you would have to trust yourself as well, not just because you're part of a team, but trust yourself that you've done all your due diligence, your sleep, rest, nutrition, remedial therapy, fitness training, strength training, even keeping the family and Optimum and your business, keeping everyone happy. Because if you've done that, there's nothing left that you've missed out.
No, the next 8 weeks is going to be really tough because literally it's training every day.
Yeah.
When I'm not on the bike, if I'm going to have a day off, I'll probably go for a short run.
Right.
It's difficult at the moment. I've got bad calf muscles, as you know. That's why I come in for the massages, because when you and stretching is really important. So I'm doing a lot of stretching now, because when you're in cleats and you're biking a lot, everything tightens up. Your calf muscles, your hamstrings, everything. So it's really important to stretch.
Yeah.
I don't do it enough.
Yeah.
Really.
Stretching, I find, is people think stretching is the boring part, or of fitness training. And equally, what I've learned, I've been stretching since I was about 11. Because I started in martial arts and then basketball. So I've been stretching. But what I've learned is that too much stretching can be just as detrimental as no stretching at all. What's important is mobility, but strength as well. We can keep on trying to make our body more relaxed, because the nervous system controls the stretching. And what we find, if I've got a client who has got too much on at work, too much on at home, and they're almost jittery, they cannot relax their nervous system. They can't bring their nervous system down. What we call the parasympathetic part of the nervous system, enable for me to stretch them or for them to stretch themselves. So we have to actually train ourselves to stretch, but we've also got to train ourselves to do strength training, which brings me to that. What type of strength training, if any, do you do?
Not a massive amount at the moment. I've got a few bits in my garage that I do. I do sit-ups, I do crunches. I've got a bar. I've got a few things I do. I've got some dumbbells and different things like that. But I'm going to be honest, I've let that lapse over the years.
Well, you've had a lot on.
And I used to do a lot of press-ups, but many cyclists have got problems with the rotator cuffs, and I have as well. So a lot of weight training, a lot of press-ups and that are out the window. So my focus at the moment is to get this ride out of the way, and then come and see you.
I'll be waiting.
and then give me some exercises where, for the rest of the year, isn't going to be about sportifs or anything like that. I've got a great ride coming up in Scotland in September. It's a closed road, 75 mile, no cars.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
on the Scottish Island or the mainland?
No, from Peebles. You go from Peebles and back down again.
Never heard of it.
It's a sport. It's a sportive. It's in the middle, just in the middle basically, just before you get to Scotland. And that's going to be more about the scenery, the enjoyment,
and
the food.
And the food.
Because the food's meant to be amazing.
And 1 or 2 of those?
Now I've stopped drinking.
Oh, you completely
teetotal? Yeah. I quit drinking 36 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, so
was that up in December, January?
That was August the 17th.
Yeah. Oh, okay, right. You stopped drinking to focus on work, training, or there's a health issue?
It's a health issue, yeah, because I've got migraines.
Okay.
So it was a trigger.
Yeah.
And I've been saying for years and years to my wife, I need to stop.
Yeah, good for you, sir.
And so I've done.
Yeah.
That's it.
Not an easy thing to do, you know. Did you just stop cold turkey? Did you?
Yeah.
You didn't taper off one more drink next week?
No, the last beer I had was Hawkstone beer, Jeremy Clarkson's Hawkstone beer.
Oh, okay.
So I went out.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I went out on a good beer.
Yeah.
I'm done now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I've got through my dad passing.
Yeah. Did your dad cycle?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't do any exercise.
Okay. Did your dad drink?
Oh, he did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting though. You were doing sports and fitness for so long. Was your mum into is your mum into some kind of?
Neither one.
Brothers, sisters?
Older brother.
And what did he do?
He's always done a bit of martial arts, boxing, different things like that. We used to run together years ago in Wellington Club in Lincoln. And,
right.
You know, we've done a few things together, but he's more just fitness now.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything
specific.
Anything like this. He don't push himself to the limit like I do.
Most people don't.
I like it. I get a buzz out of it.
Yeah.
I'm not one for wearing a medal straight afterward. I get it and I put it in my pocket and that'll be it basically.
It's done.
It's done. I'm not one of these that likes doing that. You know, that's if people want to do that and walk around with them, that's their thing.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. And I always give him
the
to
process.
I give him to my lad.
Yeah.
He gets them.
Yeah. Who better person to than your lad, your boy, because you lead the way.
Yeah.
You know, it starts at home.
Well, I hope I'm a role model to him in exercise and everything like that as well. So.
It's interesting how they say the apple don't fall far from the tree, and I'd like to say that's always the case in health and fitness, whether it be sports specific or just fitness training. But in today's modern climate, that's not always the case. You know, I personally know healthy, fit people, you know, who have got what I consider to be the eye test, unhealthy children. If someone's got an overweight child or something like that, or a child is, you know, but again, if your boy grows up and he takes up, I don't know, it could be mountaineering, but something because you came from it.
Yeah, he loves parkour.
Does he?
Yeah. Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah.
So he goes to Lincoln in parkour and I'm watching jump off things really high.
Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube.
Me doing what I do as a health and safety consultant.
I know,
I just have to,
he's jumping from wall to wall.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I
encourage him to do it because I think I did it when I was a kid, you know, similar sort of things.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important.
Yeah.
I do. You know, if they get up, dust themselves off, get back on it again.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way to learn, really.
Yeah, it is a way to learn. Although, you know, when you see these parkour kids jumping from one wall to another, and it's like a 30-foot drop.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
If they have a bad day, they're ringing sick for a long time.
Controlled. It needs to be controlled, really. So,
tell me about what's the reason why a cyclist like yourself stops cycling? I don't mean stop during the ride. Why do they give it up? Why would a cyclist stop?
Other things, I think. I think you've got to be of the right mindset, really, because it's not cheap.
Yeah.
To do it right, it's not cheap.
The equipment.
Yeah, the equipment. It takes time.
Yeah.
You know, you can go out for a quick run, but to get something out of a bike ride, you have to go for a few hours, really.
Yeah.
So it's making the time. Everyone's got time.
Yeah.
You know, I've changed the way I say things now over the last few years. You know, if you say I haven't got time, you have got time. Mm-hmm. It's what you choose to do with your time.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I'm choosing not to watch much TV.
Good call.
Not to drink. Not to do other things, but to go out on my bike. To go for a walk. You know, to spend time with my family and make that good time as well. And because I've got an end goal with it, really. But I make the time for things, and if I can't do something, it's because I choose not to do it.
Sure, yeah. Is it when you talk about you've cut out watching TV? Yeah. You know, I like watching movies. I like watching the box sets on all your streaming channels and what have you. And it can be very easy to get into the habit and the long chronic habit of watching 2 to 3 hours of TV a night, even in spring and summer.
Yeah.
It can be very easy to do that. Brush your teeth and go to sleep, and then repeat that the next day, the moment you get home from work. That is far more normal than going out and doing a 100, 200 mile bike ride, as we know, because it's easy to do. You can subscribe to a TV channel without even leaving your sofa. Just do it on your phone, and suddenly on your television you've got every show there is. Yeah. But to actually go and purchase a bike. So you think that a lot of people would stop cycling, or at least curtail it by 80% because of the cost of the equipment and the cost of the time spent
Yeah, and it's if they want to prioritise it,
Yeah.
really. Because I think it's, you know, as you get older, you might get an injury.
Yeah.
It might be that you can't bike. I know a lot of people that say they can't because of their knees. For
Yeah.
me, it's the opposite.
Right.
Running hurts my hips, hurts my knees.
Yeah.
You know, I have to. If I go out now, I'm just pattering.
Yeah.
But I made a promise to my boy Alfie, that I'll do a park run with him this year.
Gotcha.
So we've started doing the odd run and that, and I'm going to do a mini. He's going to do a mini park run.
Yeah.
I showed him the distance. We went out on the bikes on Saturday, and I says, right, from here to when we're going to stop, that's halfway of what a park run is.
Yeah.
And it gave him a bit of a shock. So
Gotcha.
after the Scotland ride, then I'll start training.
Go do that.
Yeah, because it's one of my.
There's quite a few in Lincoln.
Yeah, I did 5 pledges.
Yeah.
I did 5 pledges at the end of last year, and I think that's one of my pledges. Basically,
Okay.
I'm going to do with him.
Was the other pledge the 200-mile bike ride, the sun up to sundown?
It was yes.
Okay.
That was,
Yeah.
that was one of them. One to not work evenings and weekends.
Right.
Sometimes I have to do the odd day, but I try not to, depending on what work we've got coming in, deadlines.
Yeah.
Another one to go camping more, which I'm going to do after the 8 weeks.
Yeah,
And that.
excellent.
So
real camping or glamping?
real camping.
Because when someone says to me, I've been out camping, I always think, where's your tent? Where's the fire? Where's the...
No, we've got.
And it's like, it turns out they've got essentially a living room in the forest.
No, I've got.
Yeah.
I've got.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting no idea. I think
Well,
it is,
well,
but,
some
you know,
idea.
But I
Yeah.
do some idea.
Yeah.
No, I do love camping.
Yeah, I think it's quite cathartic as well. I got myself a 2-man tent. It's just big enough for me to get in, basically. So these 2 men, they must come when they say a 2-man tent. It must be small people.
You're like that, yeah.
You know. But I've had some fun and whatnot. And but okay, next thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Right, when you finish your bike rides, whether it be 30-mile on a turbo trainer, a quick, as your words, an easy 70-mile or 100-mile bike ride, of course, all the big ones. Apart from getting off the bike and hydrating and whatnot, what's the first thing you look to do?
Eat.
Yeah.
Stretch.
Yeah.
Have a bit of a stretch. Have a eat.
Yeah.
You know, it's really important, and more. I'm learning. I'm not an expert with nutrition. I'm listening to the people that cycle a lot, that race a lot as well. There's a guy called Tom that rides for Giant as well, and he races. And I've learned a lot of him about nutrition, because it's the lead up to a ride, to a long ride, and it's during the ride and it's post ride.
There's 3 sections to your nutrition.
Really, and you know, this long ride, I'm really going to have to study what to do a few weeks before really, and start to build up. He eats bland foods in the week leading up to it, because it stores in you ready for the day, and then on the day it's sugary that you need for that, you know, for that. So. The 200-mile ride is going to be a different kettle of fish. I mean, you know.
So you know, I'm guessing. I'll just guess if it's the bland food will be something like pasta, sweet potato, high carbohydrate, white as well. Right. So which is essentially a form of sugar.
Yeah. So it stores up in you.
Yeah.
And then you use that. Yeah. It comes out basically when you're riding.
Yeah.
So, you know, the days before he eats white bread, white pasta, white rice.
Yeah.
It's everything that I don't eat.
Yeah, same.
And then on the morning, he has rice pudding. With some fruit in it, with some honey.
Sugar.
To
good sugar.
So 2 hours before you ride. And then so on the 200-mile ride, what we'll do is we'll have something quick at like 4:30 in the morning. Ride 15 to 20 miles. Have breakfast. Quick. Down rice pudding or something.
Is that just stopping for 10 minutes on your bike?
Yeah.
And
you have to stop every 30 mile usually.
That's what you're doing, 30 miles,
Roughly.
Okay. Yeah. What also do you ever get problems when you hear about this with cyclists or runners, even swimmers? Problems with bowel movement as well while you're out on your bike?
No.
Okay.
No. Usually it's you usually need the odd wee, depending on what you do. But if you get it right, you're using that much. It's like sometimes when I used to do half marathons, I'd need a wee halfway around.
Right.
But by the end of it, I haven't stopped, and I don't need one. I'm not desperate for it because
you've used it.
You've used it. Yeah. And it's the same with biking as well. If you can get through that initial thing, sometimes you do have to stop.
Okay.
But if you drink as you go, don't drink those before.
Right. Okay.
So hydrate and just have a small bit of electrolytes or something beforehand. to make sure that you're not going to cramp up.
Do you use the camel pack thing, or is your bottles on the bike?
No, bottles on the bike.
Yeah, just 2 bottles?
Yeah, because it's too heavy.
Because
when you're on a bike, you're sort of in one position and it weighs on your shoulders.
Gotcha.
So the straps on the bib shorts pull you down as well.
Yeah.
So you don't want, the only things you have sometimes is across the back.
Yeah, I've seen those. The gels and whatnot in them. Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting then. Your bottles always go on the bike, but not on the pack. Whereas runners and climbers
and mountain bikers, it's on the back.
On the back, but not cycling because you're in that sort of
position. Yeah, and you don't want to. You've got enough neck and back pain as it is.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, do you know when the handles on a racing bike, you've got like the ones. Well, the ones that are in front where you sit and they go on your forearm like that. You've got those on yours, yeah?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Why not? What's the reason?
They're more sort of time trial bikes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So you're in one position. There isn't a great deal of climbing.
Yeah.
It's not for endurance either. So they're
just speed, time trial.
They're sort of quick rides. I mean, you know, the giant propel in that. I mean, they're completely different bike. Look completely different.
Yeah.
All for aero.
Yeah, gotcha.
So you know, and when you're down like that, you're all aero.
Right.
Whereas me, it's more endurance for comfort.
Yeah.
And I'm at the age now where I don't want to be in that position
for so long.
Yeah.
So nutrition after. Do you you know, if I was to go and ride my bike for just 40 miles even. I want to come back and I'm hungry. Like when I played golf and played 18 holes of golf, especially in winter, I'd finish 3.5, 4 hours of golf hitting balls, and the endurance is nothing like what you do, but there's still movement. I could eat a Sunday roast twice over, like straight after. You know, are you really hungry after cycling?
I'm hungry during. And so I said about 30 miles. So when you get to 30 miles, that's when I find that your energy levels can start to peter off.
Gotcha.
So you have a bar, or you stop, and you know the stops usually consist of flapjacks, Jaffa cakes. I mean, it's so sweet. Sometimes it's too much. And you just want that savoury. So you packet of crisps.
You do that.
Literally, you're shoving it down your throat.
Yeah. So you put savoury just to take away the constant almost
sugar
non-stop.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Right. Just drink water and electrolyte drink.
Yeah. Oh, I have a coffee use sometimes as well.
You do that, yeah?
Yeah.
It doesn't go through you then when you...
No.
Right.
I have a coffee because you're using it up.
Yeah.
Because you're going then for another 30, then for another 30. So, you know, there's toilet breaks, there's toilet stops and different things. But no, I like my coffee. Yeah. I've even bought some coffee bullets.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Caffeine bullets.
Yeah, I think I've seen those.
So I'm going to have one of those before I start the ride at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah. You know when what have you ever been out on a ride and you've stopped and turned back before you've got to the destination that you planned because it's one of those days you just ain't feeling it. You could be half an hour into ride and you thought I don't fancy it now.
Yeah, sometimes, especially if it's really windy.
Right.
So if it's really windy and it's headwind all the way and you just think, do you know, I really don't feel that.
You're not getting anywhere.
I don't feel it, and I'll come back, get changed. Do it later on. I mean, now I've got the luxury of being able to do it in the garage as well. Yeah. So I can have something to eat, do some work, or whatever it is. Spend some time with the family. Yeah. Get back on it.
Do all cyclists at your level? They've all got turbo trainers at home.
Most have, Most have, because you need it. Yeah. Because if it's really rough outside, you've still got a bike.
Yeah. You've still got to work the muscles, heart and lungs. What's your resting heart rate?
Between 40 and 50.
Okay.
Usually about 43.
Yeah, okay. Elite Tour de France cyclist resting heart rate?
I think they're 35s to 40, mid-40s or something. Yeah. I had my doctor check mine the other day and he went, your heart rate's really low. And I went, it's 66 on it at the moment. But, but if I check, and I said it's because I cycle and everyone,
I understand. Yeah. I read, I think it was... who was your the cyclist in the 80s, the big name? Well, you had Lance Armstrong, Greg LeMond, Miguel Indurain. I think he was Spanish or something. I remember reading it. He had something like a 6-7 litre lung capacity or something like that. Essentially, a set of lungs and a set of quads.
Yeah, Chris Froome was the same.
Right.
And Bradley Wiggins.
Yeah.
The more than ride, especially if they're riding up in the Alps. You have to get that air in. You have to gulp it in, and these guys, the professional athletes. I mean, I wish I'd started earlier. Yeah. Really,
why is that? Why do you?
Because I love it, and I think I could have probably raced semi-professional.
Okay.
I think I've got that. I'm not saying I don't know. I'm not blowing my own trumpet or anything. I'm not trying to do that, but I've got that mentality. Well, I'll push and push and push and push until I've literally got nothing left. I always say to people, when they run. if you've got a massive sprint at the end of a 10k or a half marathon, you haven't run hard enough.
Oh, okay.
Because you know, you're not a track athlete.
Right.
You're an endurance athlete.
Yeah.
If you've got that much energy, you haven't spent enough.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I
did my fastest 10k
yeah.
when I was mid-30s, and I always wanted to get below 38 minutes, and I did it in 38 minutes 6 seconds, and I could see the clock, and I had nothing left.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
You know, because I'd left everything out there, and that 6
Yeah.
seconds is all to me.
Big deal. It's a big deal. It's not a big deal to anyone else, but to you it was.
Yeah.
What's okay, so what is a distraction from cycling? In the same way that we talked about TV, streaming channels, you know, spending too much what is too much time, but spending an enormous amount of time socialising, is there a distraction from it?
Family.
Yeah.
Spending time with my lad, my wife,
it's a reasonable one,
my eldest as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's because it might be that you know we're going camping at the end of May.
Yeah.
And I promised my wife I'm not taking my bike.
Okay.
For 4 days.
Yeah, she'll hold you to that now.
Yeah, but what I'll do is I'll go for a run. I'll go for a short run.
Yeah.
Short runs while I'm out, you know, because so family's a distraction.
Yeah.
Work can be a distraction.
Yeah.
If there's a good movie on now and again, it's like, do you know
Yeah.
what? I really can't. You know, I've trained yesterday. I'm not gonna. But for the next 8 weeks, I'm gonna try and find. So there isn't any.
Yeah.
I've got to.
And if for want of a better word or phrase, you know what I mean, if it's family and business, we're calling it a distraction just because I can't think of another word. Someone might find a more subtle, more giving, you know, more forgiving phrase than this. But sometimes we can become a distraction for ourselves. But I think especially endurance sports and endurance events, that mental focus and fortitude. You know, I've trained under highly skilled climbers. You know, I don't mean indoor climbers, I mean, you know, proper expedition, altitude climbers, and some of the stories I heard from them while I was training with them, and I saw how they could move across ice and snow and altitude, and I've trained with Nepalese Sherpas as well, and these are incredible athletes. They don't call themselves incredible, but they are incredible athletes. And I always thought to myself, you know, at what point does the Sherpa or the European North American climber say enough's enough? And normally it's through tragedy. It's and the obvious one being a death in the mountains, and some of them still continue after that. But apparently, that's the thing when they've had someone very close to them go through, you know, a fall, avalanche, or something like that. Fatalities in cycling. Then, is there a noticeable amount?
I mean, there are a few. I mean, you know, you've got your novice cyclists, you've got your professional cyclists. There's a few each year. Yeah, and it's really sad because. One thing that, you know, it says puts people off. I think you said that earlier on. What puts people off? Cars. Road. It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
Really dangerous. There was a few of us nearly got knocked off the other day and reported it to the police. Yeah. So there's a crime number now for it as well because this guy targeted us. Yeah.
Really? You know the difference between someone that's just too.
Yeah. He stopped to come past us again after he'd already.
You're joking.
No.
Wait, I know.
In Lincoln. No, in Lincoln.
That is wild.
It was really sort of upsetting at the time, and shocking, and because he even stopped in the road and started shouting at us, and you know, it's like all we were doing, we were out on the ride. Yeah, you go to France, you go to New York, you go to Spain or anywhere. There's more tolerance. Yeah. So I think one thing that would put people off cycling is there's not enough cycle paths. Yeah. The roads are really bad. Yeah. And drivers don't have any tolerance.
Right. You like Japan then?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
Everywhere you go. I think I was the only person who was on a bike. Yeah. And sometimes what I found, there's lots of cycling paths and walking paths. And there was a thing in Tokyo. I'm not sure if it's a written rule or is it a cultural thing. They don't use the bells. Right. The little bell on the bike. Yeah. So I had people coming past me. I'd be walking, taking a photo or something. Little old lady or a fully grown man would miss me by inches. Yeah. And all I had to do was turn left and right out of looking at something. I'd get hit. But they don't use the bells. Right. And yet in Kathmandu, in Nepal, when I was there, it's this din of noise. Yeah, everyone's on their bells and the horns, but not in Japan.
No, you see, riding the road bike, we don't have them.
Right.
But I've got
like a little shopping basket on a road bike.
Yeah. So I shout, or I've got my back wheel makes some noise. Okay. So people hear it.
And you're visible as well.
Yeah, I just shout and just be as ride on your right, ride on your left. You know, you give as much warning as they can. But one thing that say puts you off is it's scary. If you've got a car coming past you 50, 60 mile an hour, and they're brushing you with the wing,
that's enough.
Honestly, it is.
Yeah.
It's horrendous.
Yeah,
I've had some proper near misses. I really have.
Well, there's some kind of symbiosis between you and drivers, and I'm always sort of thinking, is it a lorry driver because the size of the vehicle? But what you're talking about that day, that was a car.
It was a car, yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean, you've got to respect the cars as well.
Yeah.
So cutting up the inside of a truck, don't do. Cutting up the inside of any vehicle, don't do.
Yeah.
Sit back.
Yeah.
If there's a cycle path, use it.
Yeah.
You've got to be. You've got intelligent riding.
Yeah.
And sometimes people aren't.
Because what are the consequences?
Yeah, because they're in a hurry or something like that.
Yeah.
You just need to anyone riding out on the road, just take that step back. That second just to think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your life's precious.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? All right. Okay, so before we do our links to your charity bike ride and Optimum Safety, I always like to ask my guests on the channel, moving away from the sport or the line of work, 3 or 4 questions. Okay, and this is the equally human part of Chris Owen. All right, what's your go-to movie?
Oh.
Bearing in mind we're the same age, so we come from the same.
I mean, to be honest, I love my Rocky movies.
Yeah,
I love my Rocky movies.
The story and it's the physical.
Yeah.
Why not?
It used to bring me to tears.
Yeah.
I was that passionate about it.
Yeah.
And,
I think I've actually had this conversation with a gentleman before who was a Rocky fan, and I collect vinyl.
Yeah.
So I've got the Rocky movies on vinyl, the scores.
Yeah.
But I still think after Rocky 4 onwards. Fun fact, I actually went to an advanced screening of Rocky 4 where he fought the Russian.
Yeah.
When I lived in London, I collected some little tokens from the Sun newspaper.
Yeah.
I had to collect enough to go and collect a preview movie of Rocky 4.
Wow.
But I think from Rocky 4 onwards, it became a parody of itself.
Yeah, apart from the last one. I do like
Rocky
the last
Balboa.
one. Yeah.
It was very much because they had Antonio Tarver, a real boxer.
It come back
Yeah,
to
ESPN, it did, yeah, good call.
Yeah, I think that 4 and 5.
Which is your favourite?
Rocky 2.
My favourite's Rocky 2. I like Rocky 1 because he met Adrienne and whatnot, but Rocky 2 because I think Rocky 1, the fact that he didn't win the fight, he didn't run off in the distance with the girl, and then when he got beaten up.
Yeah.
But Rocky 2, there was a little bit of salvation.
There was, yeah. I mean, I used to watch it when he used to come home from lunchtime from school.
Yeah.
I was 13, 14.
Loved it.
And I promised myself, I used to watch the fight.
Yeah.
Video it,
Yeah.
I promised myself I'd go to Philadelphia one day and run the steps, and I did.
Yeah. Oh, you done that?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
fist bump for that.
Yeah, I did it in my 30s.
If I was in Philadelphia, I'd do that.
I went purposely to America to do it.
Superb, yeah.
So a friend lived over there, and she lived in Baltimore, and I said, look, I'll come over and see you, but I want to go to Philadelphia.
Yeah,
so I did
steps.
And the statue was there with him at the bottom at the base as well.
Yeah.
It was just a bit corny, but throwback to my 12, 13.
Well, you come from the era,
Yeah.
About 7 or 8 years ago, I did a pilgrimage, a movie pilgrimage. I went to see the burial at the grave of Bruce Lee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I grew up as a Bruce Lee fan.
Yeah, me
of course,
too.
I'm from the 70s. I did martial arts, and to me, he's in the conversation for one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Unbelievable.
But he's buried in Washington, near Seattle, Washington
Yeah.
State. And I went to the grave, and of course we both got the same birthday as well, Bruce Lee and I. And of course I had my photos taken and whatnot. And I thought, no one cares. Yeah, no one cares that I'm stood next to Bruce Lee's grave. Yeah. But anyone who went to that graveyard, they were going.
You know why they're going there.
Yeah, it's a huge place as well.
I used to Wing Chun, so it's a massive briefly. Yeah, massive.
He was the greatest. Yeah, he was the greatest. Okay, so Rocky's your franchise.
I would say so. Yeah.
Right, music. What's your go-to album?
I would go to band. I would say when I'm working, when I'm in, Eagles.
Eagles, all right.
Eagles, yeah. So I haven't got a favourite album. I've got my favourite tunes. And
Big back catalogue.
Yeah, because I've got a music app basically, and I just say play the music.
Yeah.
And even when I want to concentrate in the office, put my speaker on, put the music on, and I just have it in the background.
And
so,
Eagles,
and I saw him last May.
Did you? Any good?
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Actually, that brought me to tears as well. I'm a bit emotional.
No, well, because their music is quite.
Again, it's a 12-year-old that wanted to go to see the Eagles, and I'd never done it. And I promised myself the Christmas before, if they ever come back, I'm going to go. I don't care what it costs me. Yeah. So Newark Co-op Arena, May last year.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah. Superb.
It's
Eagles.
their goodbye tour as well. So.
I actually had one of their albums on vinyl once, and it wasn't mine, but I had a copy of it, and I gave it back to the rightful owner. And but it transpired after that I've heard lots of Eagles music either on the radio or as an advert, but I didn't know it was the Eagles.
Amazing.
What a band! Yeah,
incredible.
So okay, you wake up tomorrow morning, you got a free ticket to fly anywhere in the world for 2 weeks destination. Where are you going? No, all expenses paid for.
All expenses paid. Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because is it on my own or with family?
You're a father and a husband with your family.
With a family.
Yeah, it's interesting. You gave.
Probably go New Zealand.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'll probably go New Zealand. I've always wanted to take my wife on my own, take her to Bora Bora.
Okay, yeah.
Just us.
Yeah.
But if it's family,
yeah.
I think New Zealand.
Right, yeah. I've had a few clients, not on the channel, but when I'm training them, a lot of people say New Zealand. They think Australia sounds too commercial, where they think, oh, I'll fly another 3 hours and literally go to the end of Earth before you drop off the end.
Yeah,
you know, so.
Yeah, I've been to Australia.
Have you? Yeah, I've been
and I've got a friend who lives in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And he just raves about just the activities and so many things to do there. When I go on holiday, I don't just sit down.
Yeah, beach holidays. I've not had one for a long time. I used to enjoy them when I was younger, but I want to do stuff now.
I'm going to Tuscany in summer. So
oh, very nice.
I'm taking my running stuff with me.
Yeah, of course. But not your bike.
Yeah, not my bike.
Alternate profession. Okay, you can have another profession that you've trained in, you've studied, you're skilled in, you earn money from. What would it be if you weren't in safety, health and safety?
Another profession?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. If I was younger, I'd like to be a professional cyclist.
Oh, okay.
That's what I would.
We've come full circle.
Yeah, I think I would. And as I say, you can't turn back the time, you can't take it. But I think what they do is, I'd say it's next
incredible.
level. It's next level.
It's almost inhuman, the Tour de France.
I went to see Tour de France when it came in years ago, literally waiting all day for them to go. But that was enough just to see that. And I will be doing, not next year, year after.
Okay.
Going to see, I think it's starting from Edinburgh. They're doing Edinburgh, and if you're doing the Wells. And
that's the British part of the Tour de France?
Yes, yeah, so they're coming back again, which is, that'd be amazing. So I'm definitely going to do it again. Yeah,
that'd be like me going to see the Masters in golf.
Yeah.
Or NBA finals, you know, so gotcha. All right, so now, final. Let's give out, if you could read out to our viewers and listeners, give us the links to your charity bike ride so they know where to look it up and where to find you.
So I'm on Just Giving, and it's I can't remember the actual Just Giving page. I think it's Chris Owen 202. I think it is at Just Giving.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to email me for the
donations or something.
For the donations or anything, you can email office@optimum-safety.co.uk. And we can send the link through. You've got a few flies here and if anyone wants to call in.
We'll add the links once I've got the video edited. We'll add it to it, Chris. And of course now, with regards to Optimum Safety, who is your ideal client?
Who's my ideal client? Really, any company that wants to embrace health and safety, really.
Should we all?
Because they take it, they should do, but it's a necessity. People usually don't come to us because they love health and safety and they want health and safety. They need it for a reason. So we like to work with clients that want to work with us as well. We're talking anything from one-man bands right up to 500 employees. Really? We work with some massive companies we work with.
That's great.
Anyone in construction, engineering, manufacturing, right down to, I did one the other day for a decorator working on site.
Like a lone decorator.
Yeah. So we'll work with any fire risk assessment of any size commercial building. Any health and safety training. We've got over 100 e-learning courses. We are an independent as well, so we're not owned by a big company. It's, say, there's 6 of us at the moment. I have other people that help us out as well. So I hate to coin the phrase, we're a one-stop shop, but we really are. We do everything. And we're specialists at what we do.
Excellent. All right. Well, I can attest that I know a few businesses, some of them small, medium, and large, in the Lincolnshire area that I know the directors or the owners that have used your services and enlisted you, so I can attest that to go and see Chris. But you know something, Chris, what we're going to do then is before your big bike riding in June the 21st, come into our centre and we're going to donate some sports massages towards you to look after your legs and your back.
Thank you.
And I'll get our therapists, they come on from Lincoln University and they'll look after your hamstrings, your quads, your calves, your back, anything.
Thank you, I really appreciate it.
And then a post-ride, come in, we'll sort your legs for you.
Fantastic, thank you very much. I mean, for me, it's been really good since my dad passed away, because in a way, cycling's been good, I should say, since my dad passed away, because it's any exercise where you can get out in the fresh air. And even if, say, you're in the garage, anything that gets you away from the life is good for your mental state.
Of course it is.
It really is. I mean, I can't say how good it. Years ago, I used to be friends were mountain biking. Used to be up on a Saturday morning early, Sunday morning early, riding through the woods, and just seeing the wildlife, seeing the trees, being amongst it. Even now, early morning, I'm going out Saturday morning, 7:30 in the morning to do a 50-mile ride, and there's people there, you know, been out drinking the night before, sitting watching just on the phone,
doing the walk of shame
time in the morning, and it's like we're out there doing what we do, and it's just so good. It really is.
Well, you're preaching to the converted on exercise, especially outdoor exercise, but inside. But there's it keeps us, it helps us course correct quickly, physically, mentally, emotionally, in relationships as well. You know, everyone's been through something that is and again, it's relative. That's mentally, physically, emotionally tough. But I find that I'll stick to this mantra. You know, you can recover from something either quicker or more efficient or whatever if you're strong, fit, and healthy. There are no benefits to being unhealthy. There are zero benefits to being unfit. You know, the only person that wants us to be unfit is the person that peddles, you know, unrequired pharmaceuticals. Or you know, or these latest slimming drugs, you know, and that's going to be a conversation I have with someone else as well. I've got a very close friend of mine who works in the pharmaceutical industry at a high level as well, and so I can get information on him on who stands to benefit from those sort of things. But compared to getting out on your bike or indoors on your bike, going for a run, going for a swim, there's nothing like it.
Just for a walk in the woods, and you know, I think it's Japanese that swear by walking amongst trees because it's the you know, the benefits from it and that. And if there was ever a time I was going to sit in and just be in myself, basically, is in December when my dad passed away. And you know, you just do the do, but I've made myself get up, get out, and I have grieved. You know, I'm grieving. You know, I do let my emotions out. I'm a very emotional person. And when it happens, you just let it happen. But I think the worst thing you can do with anything like that is sitting on your own.
Sure, what are the rules, you know?
Talk to your friends, talk to your family, get out there, get some exercise, go for walks. You know, I think you go into yourself even more if you don't do that. Yeah, sure. Well,
you've got my admiration, Chris, because what you do as a family man, and again, only you're younger than me. You know, we're no spring chickens. No. You know, you clearly do utilise your time well. You're spending your time on this big sphere that we live on. We're not on a flat earth, and you're not wasting it. You know, and it's commendable. I'm happy to have you in today. You know, so I can learn a lot from you. All right, so. Okay, so I'd like to thank Chris. Thanks for coming in, sir.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for having me in.
And we'll meet again. And so okay, you can find me. It's Tristan Lowe, and the channel's called Health No Filter, formerly Over 40s Fitness. Find me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, LinkedIn and Facebook, all the normal channels. Please subscribe and share. We're fast approaching 100 episodes. I think this is episode 92 today. I can't remember. I remember when I started at episode 1, I thought this is going to take ages, but now it's flown by because I've worked at it, you know, and it's been extra special today because you've got a multitude of reasons to do what you do and why you do it. From me, Tristan Lowe, good condition, personal trainer in Sports Injury Centre in Lincoln, and from Chris from Optimum Safety. Until the next one, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Sir.
Pleasure. Cheers.
Thank you.